From Washington, this is VOA News. What if North Korea fires one of its missiles? A former Assistant Secretary of State weighs in. And after a day of talks on Iran's nuclear program, nothing. I'm Joe Palca, reporting from Washington. North Korea is urging foreign embassies to consider evacuating their missions in Pyongyang due to rising tensions on the Korean peninsula. Russia and Britain confirmed they received a request today from the North for their embassy staff to evacuate, but that they have no immediate plans to withdraw. Stephen Ganyard is a former Assistant Secretary of State and Marine Corps fighter pilot. If North Korea chooses to fire, he says the U.S. will respond.
No doubt the White House has plans in place and has made decisions about whether to allow U.S. forces to engage any kind of North Korean missile that may be launched in the next few days or hours.
And if the U.S. military shoots the missile down?
If we do shoot it down, it could be very provocative because it would be a big embarrassment to Kim Jong-un. He's trying to threaten the world community with his missiles and his nuclear weapons, and if we're able to show that we can knock down these weapons, he loses face. It could lead to instability within the regime. So we don't really know. So there's no good answers here. Both outcomes have their dangers.
North Korea has issued a series of threats in recent weeks against the United States and South Korea. Syrian rebels say they've seized a military checkpoint on a main highway between Damascus and Jordan. A rebel commander tells the Reuters news agency that the checkpoint is a major army garrison. He says the rebels will now capture the border crossing and cut off the military supply lines. Also Friday, the British-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says Syrian forces bombed a key Damascus neighborhood, trapping people under the rubble. Iran and world powers failed to reach any major breakthrough during the first day of talks aimed at finding a resolution to Tehran's controversial nuclear program. Speaking in Washington, U.S. State Department spokeswoman Victoria Nuland said that during the opening day of talks in Kazakhstan, Iran failed to deliver a clear and concrete response to the offer made by the so-called P5+1 group of nations during the last nuclear negotiations in February. Election officials have rejected nomination papers filed in one constituency by Pakistan's former military leader, Pervez Musharraf, for national elections expected on May the 11th. VOA correspondent Sharon Bain reports the rejection of General Musharraf's filing is just one of many vetoes that election officials have made against potential candidates that they find to be unsuitable.
The rejection by one constituency of Mr. Musharraf's nomination papers may stall his attempt to regain national political leadership. However, the former president's spokeswoman, Asya Ishaq, says a team of lawyers will appeal the case to the country's highest court.
We are going to plead that Article 62 or 63 of the Constitution cannot be implemented by Election Commission of Pakistan until and unless the person in the case is convicted by any court of law. And President Musharraf has never been convicted by any court of law in any case.
Mr. Musharraf returned to Pakistan in March from 4 years in exile. Sharon Bain, VOA News, Islamabad.
Speaking of Pakistan's Supreme Court, they have agreed to hear a petition Monday asking for Mr. Musharraf to stand trial for treason. A new strain of bird flu is active in eastern China, and the number of human infections is rising. Since Sunday, the H7N9 influenza has killed at least 6 Chinese. Hundreds of people are being closely monitored for signs of the disease, although only 16 cases have been confirmed. The World Health Organization is following the outbreak closely. From WHO headquarters in Geneva, Lisa Schlein gives us the latest details.
All confirmed cases of H7N9 bird flu have come from 4 provinces near the East China Sea. A spokesman for the World Health Organization, Gregory Hartl, says more than 520 people who were in close contact with the flu victims are being closely monitored, but no one else yet has displayed symptoms of bird flu. Hartl says investigators are trying to find the source of the H7N9 virus.
As far as I know, There is no yet common source of exposure for all of these cases. That's one of the pieces of the puzzle which needs to be filled in. So there are numerous investigations going on into various possible environmental and animal sources.
Lisa Schlein for VOA News, Geneva.
For more on all these stories, visit our website at voanews.com. This is Joe Palca from the VOA News Center in Washington.